Talk about you. Yeah, man, that was good. And of course, we couldn't see Roy McCurdy, but he was there too. My guest, Henry Franklin.
Hi.
Hi. You know, is it proper to call you a statesman or an elder statesman? I never quite know the terminology to use.
Well,
What do you think?
no, just call me Henry.
Well, that's kind of like you can call me Al kind of
Yeah,
thing.
just call me Henry.
I'm just never sure. It's like an older player who has been around for a long time and been very involved, you know, with the history of jazz. I'm never quite sure how to say that, you know, in a respectful way, and you know, that people will understand. Oh, this person's been around for a long time, you know.
Oh, yeah, Henry's just fine.
Of course it is, because that's you. That's why I love you, Henry Franklin.
Back at you.
Let's see. Todd Hunter says hi. Hi, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
Guitarist Taylor Hatch and Joyce Glasgow. She's from Seattle. She's a big, huge jazz fan and an artist.
Okay, hello.
So, you know, there's a few things I want to ask. One thing, the first thing I want to ask, Michael Jenkins. Hi, Michael. He loves you. The first thing I want to ask you, Henry Franklin, is I remember when we met at that all-night jam session on Laurel Canyon or Crescent Heights and Sunset.
Pippies.
Yeah. But I don't remember who was the pianist. Was it Theo?
No, it was Kirk Lightsey.
Oh, that's how I knew him.
Yeah, I think Theo was living here then. He may have done a few with us, yeah.
Yeah.
But Kirk was there most of the time.
Was there a drummer?
Yes, and the drummer was who was the drummer? We had several drummers. Doug Sides played drums quite a bit there. And Doug Sinabaldi, I remember he played.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a rotation of drummers too. Yeah.
You know, it's funny, but all I remember is you.
Oh, really?
You're like, in my memory, you're like bigger than life there, and that's it. You know, obviously you made a big impression on me.
Well, it must have been love at first sight.
It was, man. I think I was probably 21. It was like 76 or 7, something like that.
Okay, that was a little over 21. That was about 30, 35 then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great spot, wasn't it?
That was a great spot. And you know, those were good days for those all-night jam sessions. And some of them were in parts of town that if I was older, maybe I would have thought, should I go there? But because I was younger, I was like, yeah, I'll go anywhere. And but boy, there were some great jam sessions during that time.
Oh yeah, we went on till 4 o'clock in the morning. I remember the club owner would put the blinds down and keep serving alcohol after 2 o'clock. Oh, that was fun. It was fun. All the cats would come in and sit here and play with us, and those are the good days.
Yeah, was there you've been in LA all this time, right? Basically, you've lived here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there a lot of all-night jam sessions like in a good long period?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was the 3 or 4 of them down Adams Boulevard. There was 3 or 4, and
There was one on Venice Boulevard, because I went to that one.
There was a couple on Washington Boulevard. There was the Grand Theater, they would have after hours stuff, and I think the It Club had after hours sometimes too.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on.
That was probably where a lot of people built up their chops, right?
Oh, sure, because there was jam sessions on the weekends, music 6, 7 nights a week, all over the place. So everybody was working. All the rhythm section guys were working in those days, 6, 7 nights a week, and you could leave your equipment there because you're coming back the next night. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen anymore.
No. I'm so glad we got a chance, and you especially, I'm sure, have even more history. But I'm so thankful that I got a chance to be, you know, in a period of time where that was happening. And you could go to all night jam sessions, and you know, yeah, just wow.
Yeah, I like to tell the young players, the ones that I communicate with, about the olden days. When they're kind of envious, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, yeah,
Those were the days, and
yeah,
you never knew who would walk in. Art Blakey may walk in, or anybody would walk in. You never know.
yeah.
Re-
And remember, Jimmy Smith had a club in North Hollywood. I actually lived right around the corner from there.
Okay.
Yep.
I never went to that one because he was an organ player.
Right.
I know it was there. I know it was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. The other question immediately I have for you, I'm somewhat fascinated by the bass. And what fascinates me the most is the sound that each bass player gets seems so different and so individual. And it's not just, I don't think, that's why I just wanted to talk about this. I don't think it's, I don't think the sound, well, I'm not sure what I want to say, but like if I picture a guitar player playing, I can really hear the lines that they play because of what they're playing. They're not, like the bass is the bass. The bass is the rhythm section. And the guitar is too, but when the guitar solos, it's a very distinct voice out there. So you really hear their lines and you hear their ideas. And unless the bass player solos, I mean, you're still hearing their perspective, but the sound fascinates me. When they're playing in the rhythm section, the sound can be so unique to them. I mean, I know it's partly the bass, right, that you have, but it's something more than that. It's maybe your strength, or what is it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody strives for their own sound. Like you can always tell Ron Carter, you can always tell Buster Williams, just by hearing them, or Niels Pedersen, you can always tell them right away. So everybody works for their own sound, just like horn players do, and it's something you work on to acquire that. A lot of it has to do with the instrument and the setup of the instrument, but a lot of it has to do with your fingers and your strength and your finesse, or whatever what you work on. So each person is going to approach it different.
Yeah. Um, I always thought John Gianelli was a really good player.
It was great.
Yeah, his sound was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a guy I met last year from the East Coast who plays with a friend of mine. It's a really great singer named Paul Jost. His name is D- uh, ah, his name is Dan. Are you listening? Help me. Dan always helps me when I forget. I want to say Anderson. Let me just look for a second. Anderson? That's not it, is it? And who plays with? Shoot. I'm gonna have to go look. I'm gonna have to go look on Dean Johnson. That's it, Dean Johnson. He, wow. I mean, he's really good. I would love to share his music with you. He's really a good bass player. It's just really stands out. Really nice, beautiful.
Yeah, there are quite a few great bass players all over the place.
Yeah. Another guy in town I like is Ahmet Sezen. Do you know him? The Turkish young guy.
I met him yet.
Yeah, he's really good too.
Mm.
But you, of course, you are the king. Thank you, Joyce, Dean Johnson. You are, yeah, you're one of the kings. Your sound has so much of your life in it, and you've just lived such a rich life.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been very lucky, and I'm very fortunate to have been where I've been so far.
Yeah. Would you mind what you did for me? Would you mind showing the audience kind of just a little bit around the room?
Oh, sure.
Because I think it's amazing. I want to live like that.
See. See some of my paintings.
Yeah.
Did you see them?
Yep. Yep. Look at he has art absolutely everywhere on the walls, everywhere. And the piano and the drums. And this, as he said to me before, this is only one room. It's just great, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty full.
Pretty cool. Hi, Hiroki. I have a Japanese friend who's been showing up. It's really great.
Mhm.
Oh, thanks, Dan. So yeah, okay, so one thing I did not know about you was that I think your dad, was he actually a musician? Was that what I read?
He was a trumpet player, yes.
And so now he was in LA as well.
He was in LA. He was on the Central Avenue scene. His name was Sammy Franklin, and he had a big band. And it was the premier big social, dance band,
Yeah.
And he was played at the Elks Hall quite regularly, which was the big hall on Central Avenue. And he did all the socialite gigs. So I was around music from day one, thanks to him.
Or did you have siblings who were musicians as well?
All my siblings are not musicians because I'm the only child.
Well, that settles that.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Your mom obviously liked musicians.
Yeah, I think she liked him. Yeah, she held the fort down while we played music. She was a nurse,
Oh,
so we got to have some stability in the family.
yes. So, yeah, that must have been. So my dad also was a band leader. He was a sax player in Boston, and he was definitely a jazz player. But I was thinking about this the other day. Oh, I know why, because I started taking a piano class from Jeremy Siskin, and he was talking about just a very brief overlook at the history of jazz, within certain years, how it moved from stride into bebop and stuff like that. And I just was thinking, my dad, he was not into bebop. He didn't move along with the times, I guess. He was into Stan Kenton, that kind of stuff, the big bands. That was his major love. And he did like Ella. He had, records that I listened to, Ella and Rosemary Clooney and you know, the four freshmen and the high lows, those were the vocal ones. But he never, like, he didn't have Charlie Parker records or anything like that, you know.
Well, my dad didn't either. I think as far as he got as far as bebop was Diz. He loved Diz.
Uh-huh.
He told me they were friends, you know.
Yeah.
But he was, especially, he was only into the big band thing, you know. But he dug what we were doing when we were coming up, you know, quintets and quartets and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting coming up like that. Hi, David Cook. How are you, man? David Cook says drummers are the heartbeat of a band, but the bass player controls the circulation. They're the blood flow of the groove.
All right.
That's a nice way to say it.
Tell him I like him. Yeah, he's a nice, good guy.
Yeah, he's cool, man. David Cook. I'm gonna copy that over, David, because that's a good comment. So actually, yeah, that's another thing that I found out about, you know, throughout, I guess, just throughout my growing up, you know, and becoming a better singer and musician, was that it's actually the bass player who keeps the time. Which
Yeah.
every time I tell a student that, they're kind of dumbfounded. It's like, what? Well, I thought it was the drummer. Well, no, the drummer has to have good time, but it's not the drummer, it's the bass player, you know?
Right. Bass
Yeah,
player does many things back there.
yeah.
Supposed to. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've also sung with bass alone several, you know, over the years. And another thing that's intriguing to me is intonation. I realize intonation is a very personal thing, but you can't just sing with any bass player. Doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I mean, alone, like a duo, really doesn't work, man.
It's probably the same if you're playing with a piano player that's not, you know, into playing with singers.
Yeah,
With the same conflict there.
yeah.
Yeah, I know it's probably very hard to find a piano player accompany us, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, there's so many great piano players, right? And but then there are these special players who really you connect with and they're so good. Ross Tompkins, of course, was like he was kind of a king of accompaniment.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of thrilling, and especially rubato, you know,
Yeah,
that's really an art form.
sure. And Lou Matthews was one of those guys.
I know, man.
Mhm.
He was great. He was on one of my records. I had this record of all duos, mostly duos, and I had like 12 different piano players, and he played with me. We played America, and it was really good. I'll share that with you. But I think that was like one of the last recordings that he worked on.
Uh, how is he? Have you heard how he's doing? Is he okay?
Yeah, from what I've heard, his wife, you know, is communicative and basically he's enjoying life, but he doesn't play the piano. I don't think he really kind of remembers that he plays piano, which is
Hmm.
a little bit heartbreaking, you know.
Yeah,
But he, you know, he had a whole wonderful day, so
he sure
of
did.
life, yeah.
He sure did.
He and the other guy who were spectacular, Tom Garvin, remember him?
Tom Garvin, yeah, sure. Yeah, he was great with vocalists, I understand. Yeah,
He
sure.
was he was really spectacular. Same with Lou. It was like when you started singing, they it felt like they were holding you in their arms, you know, and you could do no wrong as a singer. Whatever you sang, they made beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you get a guy like that, you want to hold on to him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, in the old days when there was a lot of gigs, it was kind of easy because you'd have a bunch of gigs. Now it's like you have to go out and create a gig.
and then you got to create people to get them in there.
Yeah.
Boy, it's kind of strange nowadays, isn't it?
It is very strange.
Hmm.
I hope we're going to be looking back at it really soon.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
um, Dan, my friend Dan Davila, he always does this. He shows me on allmusic.com credits and discographies, and there's a bunch of them. I'm gonna share the screen, and I don't know if you can see the screen that clearly, but there's a lot of start. I mean, these are sometimes they're not accurate, but there's a bunch that are. And well, here, okay, three more sounds. Let's talk about the three more sounds because you were with the three more sounds.
I was with the Three Sounds, and this is a new group called Three More Sounds.
Oh, okay. So now, what's his name? Who played Andy Simpkins? He was
Yeah,
in the three sounds too, right?
he was the original Three Sounds, and then Andy left. He came to LA and left, and Stan Gilbert did it for about a year,
Oh,
and
really? Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that. Huh.
yeah. And then I took it from there for about 4 years, and then after that, Luther Hughes did it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, right. I remember. And it was the pianist was
Gene Harris.
Gene Harris, and the drummer.
Well, the original was Bill Dowdy, but after when Bill left, Carl Burnett did it.
Carl Burnett. He
Yeah,
was such a great player.
yeah, he still is. He's in Three More Sounds now.
Oh, gosh, I haven't heard him in a long time.
Yeah, yeah, Carl's still hitting it.
Who's the bass player now? And the piano player?
Henry Franklin and Robert Turner.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, interesting.
we've done 2 albums already, 2 CDs. Last
Wow.
CD was got to number 28 and did really good.
Wow. Is this like the high voltage to McCoy Tyner, that one?
No, 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 no. This is Three More Sounds live at the Purple Orchid at the Orchid. Yeah, live at the
Oh,
Orchid Club, something like that. But
oh, okay.
anyway, we
Yeah.
got a new one coming out in about 3 weeks.
Really cool. I saw Robert. Robert, for those of you who might not know, Robert is a incredible piano player. He's it's not, you know, unbelievably surprising that he's the pianist for the Three More Sounds,
Yeah.
because he's in that style. He's really kind of a genius, isn't he?
He's a
Yeah,
he's a funky dude. Yes, he can get
yeah,
very very soulful.
yeah. I saw him have a night at Catalina's a few months ago, and it was
Okay.
really a cool night. He had all these different artists, these guest artists, and it was really fun. It was fun to see the whole thing. Really good.
Yeah.
Um, Hugh Masekela here is here. Actually, you were the bass player on, was it Grazing in the Grass?
Ka-ching, ka-ching. Yes, indeed.
I can't believe that. I listened to that all the time when I was, growing up. I was like, that was, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was listening to you, man.
Well, I was in that band for 4 years. We traveled all around the world after Grazing in the Grass came out. really did a lot of traveling and a lot of music. It was
That
great.
group, that was a really, really popular group, right?
Oh yeah, we were very popular. That was #1 for 6, 7 months.
Oh, incredible, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, now they're playing it on an Allstate commercial, which is really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Um, huh. By the way, Bill Marcus says hi.
Hey, Bill, another great bass player.
Yeah. Um, so what else here? Mentions the three sounds several times. Bobby Bradford.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bobby's dear old friend. I started playing with Bobby and John Carter in the '60s, early
Oh,
'60s.
wow.
Yeah, and of course John left us, but I just did a recording with Bobby last year. It just came out, tribute to Jackie Robinson.
Oh, cool.
He used an octet.
Nice. You have several, wow, quite a bit with Hampton Hawes, as you and I were speaking about Hampton.
Yes, I was with Hamp. It was my first European tour. Matter of fact, 1971. We did Montreux, and then we went all through Europe, France, Germany, England, all over there. Switzerland. That
He
was
was
a
such a
three-day
good
tour.
player, man.
He was great. He was wonderful.
Yeah. Very
Beautiful
nice
person.
I was just going to say that. Really nice person, too. I
Yeah.
was telling Henry before we came on that when I first came to town, I was a waitress at Dante's for about a year and a half, and Hampton was playing there then. And he was about to make a group with a girl and a guy singer, and I was going to be the girl singer, and then he passed suddenly. I think he probably died of a heart attack or something.
Something like that, probably. He had some problems earlier in his life. They catch up to you.
Yeah.
But,
But I remember he was a really nice person.
he was one of the most beautiful people I will ever know.
Oh. Um, you also have listed Doug Carn and Bobby Humphrey and Woody Shaw.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to record with all of them. I recorded with Woody Shaw an album on contemporary called Song of Songs. That was really a good record with
Oh yeah.
Sunship. Sunship was on it, and George Cables,
Oh,
Ramon Morris, Manny Boyd, and Woody.
cool. Yeah, and here's let's see who else. Well, Doug Carn, Gene Russell, Bobby Humphrey.
Yeah, Bobby Humphreys. I went to Monterey with her in '73, and we did a live album over there for Blue Note.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marlena Shaw.
Marlene Shaw, is she on there? She shouldn't be on there. I didn't do
Oh,
anything.
really? It says live in Montreux also. So see that sometimes it's wrong. Now here it says Johnny Hammond Smith. You played.
Yep, I did. I did an album with him where he wasn't playing the bass lines on the organ. It was called Gambler's Life.
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's listed. Julian Priester.
Hmm. He did an album called Love, Love,
Yeah,
and I was on that one. That was a great album.
I'd like to hear that. I like Julian Priester.
Yeah,
Um, and there's Calvin Keys and Roland Haynes.
yeah, those were all on Black Jazz Records. Yeah, I recorded
And
with him.
several with Freddie Hubbard.
Yes, I did. Uh, one called Mr. Gleam. We did in live in Japan. and did one. I remember the name of it. One
There's
evening.
Liquid Love.
Yeah, Liquid Love. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, this says the fabulous Pescara jam sessions. Was that in Italy?
Probably.
Because I went to Pescara.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we went all through Italy a bunch of times, gang of times.
Then you had you had a bunch of your own records, of course, right?
As a leader, I have 28.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up to you, man.
Well, come on. Come on.
28.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, at one time I was trying to do, two a year. But now I'm probably down now to two a year. Still.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see a name I haven't seen for a while, John Wood.
Oh yeah. I did a couple with John Wood in the 80s.
Yeah. John
Yeah.
Wood, for those of you listening, he was a pianist, probably around my age, I guess, and he played a lot during a certain period of time. He didn't want to play on electric after a while.
Right. Right.
Um, I don't know if he's still playing, but yeah, he was a really good player.
Yeah, he's living up in Palm Springs now.
Oh,
I think he's playing in his living room.
yeah,
He doesn't like to go out to play too much, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That makes me want to call him.
And,
Dennis Gonzalez, you have a few.
oh yeah, Dennis Gonzalez, out of Dallas, Texas.
What does he play?
He's a trumpet player, kind of avant-garde,
Oh,
and he's very, very energetic, got a lot of energy, and music is really something.
ah,
So we
Dennis Gonzalez. I have to write his name down. I want to check him
check
out.
check him out. We went to Europe once with him, and he had John Purcell on saxophone. He had Charles Burkeen on saxophone. Alvin Fielder was on drums. So it was an avant-garde band, but it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Do you happen to know Nathan Breedlove, the trumpet player?
No, I don't know that name.
You would dig him. I interviewed him. He's from Seattle, but he had a long history. He got out of playing for a minute, but he played with a lot of heavyweights and went to Europe a lot and played, bebop and maybe some avant-garde. He very cool guy and a cool player. I think you'd really like him a lot. I should introduce you guys. Um, then you played with Dan Saint Marseille, who
Yeah, I
who
did.
was doing a bunch of stuff here, right?
Yeah,
Gerald Hagen and Barbara Marquet.
yeah, did album with Barbara.
The Franklin Clover Project. Whoa.
Oh yeah, that was a great trio. Steve Clover drums, and the piano player's name was from Seattle. The piano player's name is Mark Seals.
Oh,
Mark is working with a tenor player now. Ernie Watts.
oh, really?
Yeah, but Mark lives in Seattle and he's teaching at the university up there.
Oh, that's cool. Ernie is actually doing a gig with John Mayer at a home venue on March 20th.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, March 13th, a Sunday. And yeah, it's being put out on the internet now, but yeah, it's a home venue. Should be really nice. And Roy McCurdy's on the gig and Mike Garola.
Oh yeah, Mike's another great bass player.
He is a great bass player. Well, then there's a bunch of names. Well, Lou Rawls there.
Lou Rawls, yes. That
And then
goes
there's a,
way,
sorry.
that goes way back to the early 60s.
I had a gig, let's see, well, I wasn't 21 yet. I had this one and only gig that I did with, it was a 3-girl act where we dressed up, in like outfits and we sang and danced, I am woman, you are man, that kind of stuff. And that was the first and last time I ever did that. And anyway, we went to Pittsburgh, and every morning I would go and get a cannoli and a cup of coffee, and I would go over to the music thing, what do push a button, you put the money in, you push a button, and I would play Natural Man
Oh
every
yeah,
every morning. That was my routine. It was great.
good routine.
You didn't play on that one, did you?
No. I didn't record with Lou. I played with him quite a bit. We worked together with Curtis Amy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that, like I say, that was in the 60s. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Then there's a bunch of names I'm not that familiar with, like Phil Wright, Arlen Lowe, Obie Jesse, Roger Tilton, although
Yeah.
that sounds familiar.
Okay. Roger Tilton's on my label, SP Records.
Okay. What does he play?
He's a piano player.
Okay,
Good player. Good player. I'll bring you one of his CDs.
cool.
Obie Jesse, of course, they used to call him Young Jesse. He was a singer.
Ah,
And I did an album with him. And who else did you mention?
Arden Lowe.
Arden Lowe. I don't know Arden Lowe.
It says the record was called Extreme Mardi Gras. And then Phil Wright. He sounds familiar.
Yeah, Phil Wright. Phil Wright, the piano player and arranger with he arranged he did a lot of stuff for Nancy, and he did a lot of stuff for Chess Records in the early days.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we did a trio. That was on my label also, SP Records.
Okay.
He and I and Donald Dean.
Oh, that's cool. And talk about a great drummer, Donald Dean.
Yeah.
Wonderful, beautiful, amazing. When I was booking that place downtown for 2 years, Donald played there a few times, and I was just so blown away listening to him.
I remember when
So
he came. Yeah,
beautiful, subtle,
yeah.
beautiful player. Yeah,
He's still playing good. He's older than me.
he's great. Yeah, and talk about a nice guy.
Yep.
Let's see, Gary Matsumoto, and of course, I saw Raymond Bonda's name a bunch of times with Theo and Azar or something, right?
Oh, Ramon Banda, yes.
Ramon, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a band for several years working around. Theo, Ramon, myself, Chuck Manning, and
Yeah.
Gilbert Castellanos,
Uh-huh.
and we did a few records.
Now, it says Alphonse Mouzon here too. Did you play on his record?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I played on a couple tracks.
yeah. And you played on VR's record. VR Smith. Oh, singer, dear
Yeah.
singer.
Yeah, we missed VR. No, I didn't play on her album. She recorded on my label.
Oh, liner notes. I see. It says liner notes. Yeah,
Yeah,
why would you play when she's married to Putter Smith?
exactly. The great Putter Smith.
The great Putter Smith.
My man.
And then Phil Roundland, wonderful artist in LA who's very prolific.
Yes. I've done 3 or 4 projects with Phil. And Phil has since then moved back to his hometown. What is it? Detroit?
Oh, Detroit? Oh,
He went back home. He had some health issues, so he went back. So he's living back there now for a while.
cool. Well, I think we ought to go listen to some more of you. I'm gonna share the screen again, but so there I noticed there was a bunch of CDs. Oh, here's one 4x5 live at the Crown Plaza.
Okay,
Is that a good one?
sure.
That's with Ramon and
Okay.
Chuck. Wow.
All right. That's for playing, weren't they?
Man, is that your song?
No, that's a McCoy Tyner tune.
Oh, okay. 4x5. Nice song.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it's a great song. And
Yeah,
that
I like
was, yeah, that was Ryan Porter on trombone.
incredible.
Yeah, Nolan, of course, Nolan and Chuck Manning.
Chuck Manning sounds so good. And Ramon is, he's,
We miss him.
yeah, man.
We
What does
miss
his
him.
brother play?
Tony plays bass.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people, we miss those days. Hope they come back.
Yeah. David Cook sends a very nice compliment. He makes that doghouse swing. He has educated fingers.
The dog house. I haven't heard that in a long time. All right.
um, I know that you, I mean, my familiarity with you, my friendship with you has always been, as I said, like that first gig is like it's just you. I don't even remember who else was on the gig, it's just you and me. But and every time I see you, it's just always lovely. And the music definitely speaks for itself. It's always uh to me, what I think always attracted me in my own choice of jazz, after I grew up on my dad's music, and then the next step, which I chose, right? One of the first groups I ever saw live from my own choice was the Modern Jazz Quartet. And it was in a small club in Boston called um, Paul's Mall. Well, actually, it was in the Jazz Workshop. That was the smaller room. There was two rooms right next to each other. And I just, I was totally blown away. And it along with the music, it was the presence, their presence. They had honor, honor and respect. And uh, just thinking about that makes me kind of weepy, because I mean, that's the shit.
Yeah, well, they were the one of a kind group anyway. They were very special,
Yeah.
very classy.
But you have that, it's like a royalty kind of a thing. You can feel it you can feel it when you play, when I see you play or hear you play. It's the same kind of feeling. There's an honoring of sorts. Did you ever think about that, like along the way?
No, I just always thought about trying to play the right notes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Boston, did you ever go to Lenny's on the Turnpike
Yes.
in Lynn?
Yep. That was though when I was very young.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was like the place, right? Lenny's on the Turnpike.
Oh yeah, that was a great place. We would go there 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh, cool.
That was really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paul's Malls, that was a great club too. Paul's Mall and the other one next to it.
Those were so hip.
Yeah, those are good old days too.
Yeah, the same owner. And now sometimes my husband and I have dreamt of doing, like if we had lots of money and whatever, we'd have this big place and one room would be rock for him and one room would be jazz for me. But Paul's Mall, I guess, obviously it was the same owner. I don't actually know who the owner was. I used to know Paul's Mall and the Jazz Workshop. The Jazz Workshop was pretty small, and it just had a different vibe, than
Yeah,
Paul's Mall.
yeah.
I saw Miles once in Paul's Mall.
Okay. I worked at the workshop a couple of times with Freddie Hubbard. That's why I know it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, so did you did you absolutely fall in love with jazz, like growing up with your dad playing? And it was that did you start playing bass when you were a kid?
No, no. I wish I had a, but no. He started me on piano. He started me on trumpet, um, saxophone, tap dancing. I did all kinds of stuff, and I didn't really like him. So one would follow the other. I would play one for a while and then give it up. And I didn't find the bass until my second year in high school, in a jam session. I was playing saxophone in the band, but we always had jam sessions, and so there was plenty of saxophone players, but there was no bass player, but there was a bass over there, and so I picked it up, and I guess I immediately fell in love with it and just started playing. I didn't know what I was doing, of course, but it felt good. Felt good. So I told my dad that I wanted to take some bass lessons and stuff, and he worked it out and hooked it up for me, and that's it. That's what happened.
I wonder what he thought when you told him that. I wonder if he thought, "Oh,
He said,
okay, yeah."
that's just what he said. He said, oh, thank goodness, that you're paying all this money for lessons for all these instruments and take it. So he said, finally. Yeah,
So,
boy.
did you have did you have like a teacher along the way that you was a mentor to you?
Yeah, I had several. I was very lucky. I had well, after I was taking private lessons, I took private lessons from a bass player named Ryan Skeller. He was a classical bassist. And then as I was coming up, I woodshedded a lot with who took me under his arms was Al McKibbon and George Morrow and David Dyson. Those three guys really helped me along the way.
Hmm,
So those are all three my heroes.
cool. And so your dad was the like a big band guy. So was there a point where you kind of started listening? Because I saw like you were listening to Paul Chambers and a few people. So was there a time, like a moment in time where you kind of switched or not switched, but fell in love with more bebop-ish type of stuff?
Yeah, big bands never really killed me.
Yeah.
In high school, I was in the orchestra, but I stayed away from big bands all the way up until when I did join the Basie band in '80.
You did?
Yeah, I was there for about a month.
I mean, if you're gonna go with a big band, Count Basie band was probably really fun, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
it was fun. As fun as it could be for me. I took Cleveland Eaton's place, and boy, it was a lot of work. Boy, you got to get on the bus with the bass and amp and suitcase, and then get off the bus and with your suitcase and bass. Get on the airplane with your bass and your suitcase. Get off. You don't get any solos or anything. Oh boy, it was just. I still don't like big bands.
I'm not a huge big band person either. I it's unless the writing is really special, like Steve Huffstetter's band. I like listening to that because he's a really beautiful writer, you know.
Okay, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
How I'll take that back. I won't say I don't like big bands. I don't like to play in big bands. I'll listen to them,
Yeah,
but I don't like to play in big bands.
yeah, yeah. There were some writers here in LA who kind of stretched it, stretched the limits, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know who really stretched the limits? You really couldn't call it a big band, but do you know Vinnie Golia?
Oh yeah, he was in I know him through Bobby Bradford's band. Yeah, sure.
He had I mean, I don't know the whole history of how how he worked his bands, but I remember going to hear one band. I was with Scott Yano actually. We went to hear Vinnie's band, and it was kind of like an orchestra, but I mean, it really wasn't typical at all. It was kind of like probably had music that said on cue playing B or something like that,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Vinny was conducting, and it was great. It was really
yeah.
fun.
Well, I would join Vinny's band. Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, him and Bobby Bradford, that must have been fun to play with them together.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was a good band. It was him, Bobby, uh, Chuck Manning, Tina Raymond,
Oh,
and the piano player. You know who I mean. He played with was having a senior moment. He played with Frank Zappa for years.
okay, Roland, are you here? Frank Zappa, who did piano?
Uh,
I don't
uh,
know.
he'll come to me. 'Cause
Yeah, maybe Dan, my friend Dan
yeah, he'll
will
come to me.
oh, thanks, Dan. Dan looked up the history of Paul's Mall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Joyce says Maria Schneider's orchestra. Yeah, and Darcy James Argue. I don't know who that is. Darcy James Argue. I don't know who that is. I'll have to look that up, Joyce. But yeah, Maria Schneider is a really very good writer as well.
Mm, yeah.
Um, yeah, so anyway,
Oh, Don
so
Preston. Don Preston.
Tom Preston.
Don Preston.
Oh, Don Preston, right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's an interesting band.
yeah, it was.
That wasn't all that long ago, right?
No, we did. It was all last year. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we did 6 concerts.
Really?
I guess it was 2 years ago now. Yeah, but the album just came out last year.
Wow. What's
Hmm.
the name of the album?
Touching Bases, tribute to Jackie Robinson.
Oh, that's the one you were mentioning. Yeah. Is it, so whose record actually is it? Is it all of you or is it
No, it's Bobby's.
Oh, it's Bobby's. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Very interesting. I interviewed both Carmen, his daughter, singer,
Mhm.
and his wife or ex-wife,
Melba.
Melba. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Melba's a great vocalist. They're both great singers.
Both of them are wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like them. And Carmen, look what Carmen sent me. She sent me this dish. Actually, it's part of a tea set that Ella Fitzgerald gave her.
Oh,
And she said, "You should have something like this." And so she sent it to me. It's very sweet of her.
sure was.
I have a little Ella sitting right there.
There you go. All right.
So, so was there a time that you kind of looked towards bebop and or avant-garde and kind of decided to really work towards that?
Right from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Right from the beginning, I fell in love with the bands right from the beginning. Art Blakey, Horace Silver, um, all of them. Oh, Max Roach's Quintet, Miles's early bands. So I know what direction I wanted to go in. I just had to try to get the facilities to make it happen.
Yeah.
And had to try to make it work on the West Coast
Yeah.
as opposed to the East Coast.
Most of those guys were East Coast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Who was making it happen on the West Coast?
At that time,
Yeah.
oh, Curtis Amy, um, oh, I remember Curtis well because I was lucky enough to play with him for a while.
I
A
mean,
lot of guys individually, as far as band, I'm trying to think of the bands, but most of the guys individually. You know, Billy was here. Billy Higgins was here then.
yeah, man.
Whereas on the other side, Horace Tapscott was live and well. There were so many great saxophone players. There was Dodge Dupree Bolton,
Uh-huh.
trumpet. Blue Mitchell was out here then. Blue Mitchell was living here. Of course, Harold Land.
Yeah.
Um, oh man, there's so many.
Do you think that there was a difference in the sound that was happening?
Oh yeah, sure.
Was it
Sure.
it wasn't though that people played necessarily faster on the East Coast or more intense, right? I mean, there was intensity out here as well, right?
Not like it was there. I mean, there were a few guys here, you know,
Yeah.
playing with the energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
but a lot of it was like, you know, that we were labeled as West Coast jazz, you know, where you get a lot of Jerry Mulligan, Chet Baker style, you know, which nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. Harold Land kind of does that for me too there. I
And
mean, it's kind of beautiful, a little more beautiful or, you know.
well, Harold had a lot of played with a lot of energy, but he was melodic too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, guys,
I know there's a million people, but just
well, there are, and the guys, you know, that I was coming up with, you know, Sinclair, Greenwell, because all these guys are gone now. Hadley Callman, these guys were keeping that energy faith up, you know.
yeah.
Oh boy, there's so many.
You know, I was reading, I forget his name. I didn't really totally know him. Johnny something. He wrote Night Train, sax player.
Night Train was written by
Let me go look. Night Train composer. It was Johnny Forrest. Did you know of him?
Johnny Forrest. That doesn't sound right. It's Forrest, Jimmy Forrest.
Oh, sorry.
Jimmy Forrest.
Sorry, Jimmy Forrest. That's correct.
Sure, Jimmy lived out here for a while, yes.
So I was reading, I have my husband has a lot of records, and so we pick up records from various sources. You know, for me too. I mean, he's more into rock and blues, but so I was looking, you know, so I every now and then I take a record out that I haven't heard and I play it and see what I think. Anyway, there was a Jimmy Forrest record, and there was great liner notes for a change because some of those old records, like they don't even mention who's playing on them, you know, nothing. But it was an interesting point of view, which is of course is true. He was basically saying that he was kind of in between these periods of time. He was, you know, on the future side was Stan Getz, on the past side was, you know, Charlie Parker, and he was kind of in the middle. And he also didn't have notoriety like those guys, but he was a guy who supported. He was like the sandwich meat, he was necessary. And but there were a bunch of guys like that, and like some of the people you mentioned, I don't know, I have not heard of them, but I would imagine that they were the sandwich meat as well.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of guys. The more I think of it, I think of Carmel Jones. He was out here at one time. Phil Woods lived out here.
Uh-huh.
I did an album with him. As a matter of fact, we worked Dante's 2 or 3 times. Uh,
Teddy Edwards.
Teddy was here. Yes, right, Teddy. And so those guys kept the energy up, and as well with a host of others too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I got here, I mean, um, oh gosh, no, I'm having a senior moment. You mentioned him. Oh my God, I forget his name now. He, yeah, he was here.
He was here.
Yeah, but in the I guess the 80s, there were some, I guess, I don't know if they had moved here, but they were living here. And uh, it's right on the tip of my tongue who I'm thinking of, but anyway. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, in those times, guys like Charles Owens was going strong, keeping at it. Oscar Bashir.
Yeah. Oh, Oscar Brashear, man. He
Yeah, so,
was, is he around?
sure. I talked to Oscar last month. He's doing really good. He's just not playing a lot right now. But he's just having these problems with his lips.
Oh,
But,
oh
uh,
God, he was one of my heroes. Absolutely. When I heard him, I was so blown away. I have to go back and listen to him again. I'm going to write that down. Oscar Brashear. What a great player.
oh yes,
Wow.
very great, very great. And see, those guys were keeping that energy up. They were around here.
Horace Silver.
Horace was living here. Yes.
Yeah.
hmm Louis Gaskell was out here then too.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. It's really interesting. Was there
Jimmy Woods was out here.
Jimmy Woods?
I don't know if you remember him. He was an alto player. He
Yeah.
is an alto player. I guess he's still alive.
Oh, that reminds me of a tenor player who used to hang out at Dante's around the time Hampton Hawes was still alive. And he was really a great player. And he died too around that time. Um, wow. I won't remember his name. He was so good and a really nice person. I think he
Mm-hmm.
played a lot with the Condoli brothers, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were here too. And of course, Gerald,
Gerald Wiggins.
Gerald Wiggins. Yeah, Gerald Wiggins with his trios and groups.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Gerald Wilson. Gerald Wilson.
Oh, yeah, of course. Anthony Wilson's daddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
His
was
I was going to
really,
say his big band had always brought the energy.
yeah. Did you know that Jerry Wiggins' wife Lynn just passed?
No, really.
Yeah, just like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's sad.
she was absolutely the
Sad.
hippest, most adorable person.
Mm,
She
seen
was
her in
she
years.
was a
Yeah.
really cool person, yeah. Um, then of course we lost John Hurd too, which was, you know.
Yeah, that's sad too.
Oh, Michael Jenkins said that Jimmy Woods passed in 2018.
Oh boy, he's a great alto player.
Yeah. Yep. Did you at any time in your life ever have a setback that you had to come back from?
No, not really. Not really. Just waking up in the morning. Get back to the last night before. No, not really.
Um, what do you do nowadays? Do you practice? Do you play? Do you write? What are you doing now?
Yeah, I try to practice every day. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I still do gigs. If the gigs are good, I'll do some, do some playing. I
And
got a record
recording. We're recording this week.
recording this week. It should be
Yeah,
good.
for Pierre Chambers. Yep.
Right? I have a record company I work on quite a bit, SP Records.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I do all kind of stuff. Do all kind of stuff. I work in the yard.
Do you write as well?
I'm writing some things. I got a couple new CDs coming out. I'll show you one of them.
Okay.
If I can find it, what do I do with it?
You can't stop this guy.
Oh no, no, this one is called. I want to do it right, so I'll make sure.
Okay.
This is a Daggerboard. This is called Daggerboard and the Skipper. This is a new release.
What does dagger board mean?
That's the label,
Oh, okay.
and this is it.
Oh, nice artwork. Wow. Beautiful. And who is on this one?
We did this one up north. Uh, Eric Jacobson, Ross Howe, and a bunch of strings who I don't know who they are, and myself.
Oh, cool.
That'll be,
Actually,
that'll be
I
released. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say Michael Jenkins posted your let me share the screen. He posted SP Records.
Oh, all right. Go ahead, Michael.
That's a great picture of you. Oh my God, what a great picture.
That's Michael. He's a great guy too. He's my web designer and my friend.
Oh, wow, that is beautiful. And it says this this is not your record label. I mean, you're on it, but is it yours?
This one I just showed you?
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay. Oh, and also
Oh,
one question that I didn't ask you about at all.
mhm.
How'd you get the name the Skipper?
Oh boy, oh boy. I stole it from my son.
You stole it from your son? Is that what you said?
Yes, I did. His name is the Skipper, his nickname.
Uh,
So, Bill Henderson, pianist, and my good friend, wrote a song for his godson, my son, Henry,
uh-huh. Yeah.
and he called it the Skipper. So, when we did our first album, the title track we made the Skipper. Skipper was the title track.
Yeah.
So when they put the album up, it said Henry Franklin, the Skipper, for the title
Oh.
track. So everybody started calling me the Skipper. So that's what happened.
Another thing, we didn't actually talk about Ornette Coleman and Don Cherry and Scott LaFaro and Billy, of course. So you worked with them. That must have been kind of wild, huh?
No, I've worked with Billy quite a bit, and I got to play with him one time. I didn't really work with them. I played with them at a session.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got in there, but we had a lot of fun. That's when they were all living out here on the West Coast.
And Don Cherry and Ornette Coleman.
They were all here, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was plenty of fun. That's before they moved to New York.
Mm.
Uh, oh, I wanted to let you know too about SP Records. We
Mm.
do have another CD coming out in about a month. Three more sounds.
Oh,
Three more sounds play Ray Charles. So it's going to be a fun album.
wow.
So look out for that one next month.
That's cool. That's really fun.
Yeah, yeah. So I keep kind of busy around here.
Yeah. Um, I noticed that you have a lot of art, obviously. You showed us. Um, and that picture behind you is so cool. How she actually extended the painting onto your wall. I love that.
Oh yeah, you should come and see the outside of the house.
Really?
Yeah, it's
What
beautiful.
what does it look like?
So we got notes and vibes all around the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea, Henry.
Oh yeah, it's quite an endeavor.
That's cool. One of these days I'll come out and visit you.
Please do. Please do.
Um, let's see. Is there any super fabulous memory that you have of working of a gig?
Hmm. Yeah. 1972, Sonny Rollins did a West Coast tour, and I was the bass player on the gig. It was myself, George Cables, and David, I gotta remember the drummer's name. Anyway, we did a Monterey Jazz Festival, and that was very, very, very special.
Mm.
The way the people treated Sonny Rollins, like he had a standing ovation before he even played a note.
Huh.
And I don't think the people sat down. They just stood up and listened to everything he did. Yeah. And then the same thing, we did LACMA that same week
Uh-huh.
in 72. LACMA was very different, but it was outside. And
Yeah,
there were,
I loved it then.
you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were 1 million people there, and Sonny Rollins played, and the same thing. So yeah, that was a special moment
Yeah.
playing with somebody like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. What a giant. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What what piece of advice do you like, whether it's somebody who gave it to you or a piece of advice that you give to students or yeah, people?
Benny Powell used to tell me, the great Benny Powell, who was a burst of energy, lived out here also.
Yeah.
Benny Powell would like do 3 gigs every day, or 2 gigs every day. And I mean, he would go from here to there and there to there. So I said, Benny, man, how do you do it, man? How do you hook it up? And he was an amazing person. He would always tell me, it's hard to hit a moving target. So that's what I've been trying to do ever since, trying to keep moving.
Wow, you really took that to heart.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
That's pretty cute. I want to go hear a little bit more music.
Yeah.
Let's see. Um, oh, um, I know that there's a lot of CDs listed here. I just like to I kind of like to see the. Oh, look at this! Wow, Hampton, Hawes, you and Mike Garvin in France in 1974.
Oh, that's a great one.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, that's great.
Let's play this a little bit here. Ooh, Hampton Hawes. Ooh.
Oh, it's different.
Wow. Okay. This is really, wow, what a beautiful concert. I'd like to see more of that. Um,
Yeah, that was a
wow,
good.
gorgeous.
Yeah, that
I,
was a good trio.
beautiful, beautiful.
I,
Uh,
I wanted to correct something I said. I was mentioning this album. It's on the Wide Hide label.
Oh, okay.
Wide Hide, yeah. I said Dagman, no, it's Wide Hide label.
Okay.
That's up north. Central.
Okay. Yeah, Michael said you have a bass book promoting how to play bass melodically.
Called Basically Yours. Yes.
Basically yours.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
cool.
that's it. Michael's on the case, isn't
Yeah, he sure is. Is he your promoter?
he? He's my web designer, and yeah, he's promoting now. So yeah, he's my promoter too. He's my friend.
You're doing a good job, Michael.
You didn't mention about the T-shirts, though, did you?
Oh,
Skipper T-shirts.
do they have your face and name or?
Yeah, I'll bring you one.
Thanks, cool. That's the only t-shirts I keep is like t-shirts of my friends.
Okay, well, you got to wear it sometime.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
You
I do have a John Coltrane t-shirt, so he
oh,
wasn't a friend of mine, but yeah.
he was a friend of everybody.
I interviewed Michelle a few weeks back. That was a really nice conversation. She and I had never really hooked up, over the years. But it was really nice to speak with her.
Oh, I'd love to have heard that one. Sorry, I missed that one.
I do have archives. You can actually listen to these shows. But yeah, that was a really cool show, very interesting. And I got a whole different take on her singing. It was kind of like she's really good at kind of organic R&B, and who she is, the jazz stuff comes into it, and it's really unique. It's really nice.
Did she talk a lot about her dad?
Yeah, and her mom, a lot
Uh-huh.
about her mom. Guess Alice was really I mean, I knew about Alice, of course, but I didn't know her life, and very interesting life. She got into spirituality in India, and so in Woodland Hills, she bought the property next to her home, and she made that into an ashram.
Hmm.
I
I
didn't know
heard.
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
really interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty deep.
yeah, pretty deep. It's right.
Pretty deep
Um,
down.
I wanted to ask you, it's just a question. I mean, I know how I do it, but I'm just curious how you do it on your gigs. Sometimes, sometimes I get into conversations or I hear conversations about this kind of stuff about as the leader um, in a jazz group, what do you like, let's say you're going to play somewhere and you're picking the set list. Do you consider what the audience will like, or do you kind of more go for what you're in the mood for, or maybe what the particular group of musicians would do well with?
That's a good question. I think it depends on the venue.
Mm,
If you're playing at a strictly straight ahead jazz club, you just play your repertoire. That's what I would do.
yeah,
But if you're playing where it's a soul jazz venue, I guess you're going to try to have to please the people
yeah,
within a certain range. I mean, you still keep your dignity and don't start playing Beatles or anything, I wouldn't, you know, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, I've tapped into conversations about that, and uh yeah, I mean, seems pretty obvious, but still, I guess people have different points of view on it.
Yeah, well, now I just try to take the gigs that I know that I'm going to be happy on.
Yeah.
So that eliminates a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
think I was thinking that too because last night last night was a moment in time where I had all my books and music basically strewn all over the floor, because I had been doing some gigs in the last year and kind of taking pieces of music out and making little books so I didn't have to bring the whole 500 copies of each book,
Right.
and yeah, I was just looking at all the music that I don't get to play anymore that I really don't want to throw out of my book, you know. This time the dream's on me. I mean, yeah, I may not play that a lot, but it's such a beautiful song. I don't want to throw it away.
Right. Right. Well, just play it whenever you get a chance.
Yeah.
Keep it in that book. And play it whenever you can.
Yeah. I remember one time Tamir Hendelman and I had a gig and we decided to go through the alphabet. So we
Yeah.
we picked songs that began with, A, B, C, etc. Took us all night. We did actually finish the alphabet.
That must have been a long gig.
Oh gosh.
What did you pick for Q?
Quiet Nights, maybe?
Oh, that was easy one. Yeah, okay.
I know. X was the hard one.
X, wow. What did you pick?
I don't remember. I think we might have passed over X.
Yeah. Hmm.
See, now you should write a song that starts with X.
Yeah, so it is. Well, that's
Hi, Mon David. Mon David is here.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom.
Yeah, now I
That's my
saw it.
boy.
You on one of your records you had Mon singing with and Dwight singing, right?
Yeah, Mom did two of my albums, and I was sad to have him because, he's a wonderful singer and a wonderful person. I was really lucky to have him, and he's a good guy. Tell him hi for me.
He said he misses you, dear brother.
All right. Tell him back at him.
Yeah, Mon and I are cohorts in crime many times. He guest appeared on my last record too. You know what we did together? We did Save the Children.
Oh, beautiful. Good.
I'll have to send you that too. I'm gonna write a note. Save the Children to you. I'll send
I'll
it to
see you.
you.
I'll see you this weekend.
Oh yeah, right. I'll give you the record. It's kind of actually the epic song of the record. I put it on the end because it was long. Anthony Wilson wrote an arrangement.
Oh, yeah.
I had Anthony and Josh Nelson on piano and Edwin Livingston on bass and Lorca Hart on drums.
Good band.
Yeah, it was a really good band and Save the Children. Anthony wrote a really long arrangement, but it was pretty powerful and well the band sounded so good on that record, just
Yeah,
incredible.
I
And
bet.
and Mon was perfect. Oh, he said,
Yeah,
please save a shirt for me.
there you
Uh-huh. Here's something. It would be fun to watch a little of this. You're playing with Robert Turner and Carl Burnett.
go. Okay.
My friend Dan found that, and I think it's really, I think that would be pretty cool. 447 mark. Okay. Whoops, four, four. Oh, I know this guy. What's his name?
Of the term first call.
What is it?
Chet Hanley.
Yeah. Is he still around?
Oh yeah, he does his thing coming from Cal State Dominguez. He's
Oh,
not
yeah.
he's not doing it this year, of course.
Yeah, he'd be an interesting person to interview too, wouldn't he?
He would be delightful because he knows all about the music,
Yeah.
and yeah, it would be great.
All right, let's hear a little of you guys on this.
Cat, the great Henry Franklin is here with us. And the gentleman at the keyboard, and if you were with us last semester, you know that this guy pretty much runs circles around most pianists out there. And it's with great pleasure that I reintroduce Mr. Robert Turner. Mr. Robert Turner at the keyboard. Collectively, these gentlemen are known as Three More Sounds. Carl Burnett, Henry Franklin, Robert Turner, gentlemen.
Carl Burnett, whoa, isn't he adorable? Yeah.
Hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was us playing with the electric piano. It's much better with an
Yeah.
acoustic.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, it's been 2 hours. It's amazing, isn't it?
Sure went by fast. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for spending the time, with us.
Oh, thank you for you. Thank you for you, Cathy.
Mhm.
It was my pleasure.
Well, I learned a lot. I'm sure other people heard a lot of really cool stuff. Um, and I'll see you this week.
Right,
Cool. I get to see
right,
you a lot. This is really great.
right.
And um, everybody will be looking for you. And your site is henryfranklin.com. Is that correct?
Yes, either that or sprecords.com.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can go to the first one and it'll take you to the other one also. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. The phone didn't ring one time.
It's amazing, huh?
Oh, sure is.
Um, Tomorrow I have I do live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now, and then Thursday through Sunday I do archives. But tomorrow Tom Kubis is on.
Tom Kubis. I know
Tom
Tom.
Now talk about great big band writing. He's an arranger from Orange County. He's like big band and orchestra, and I mean he's incredible. He's really, and he's been doing it for years, and he's just extremely talented guy. So he's on tomorrow. And then I have archives. I have Sunny Wilkinson. Do you remember her? Singer, tall blonde.
No.
She was lived here for a long time and then moved to Michigan. So she's on Thursday, Friday. I made my two friends from Australia wake up super early to get on. So two singers, Ingrid James and Anita Wardell. They're wonderful jazz singers. Saturday, Bob Shepard, a great alto tenor player.
Sure.
That was a really fun conversation. And Sunday, a guy from Poland, a pianist, a very good pianist and arranger named Kuba Stankiewicz. Just say his name. I'm going to have to make a little Stankiewicz. And yeah, and he was in Poland when I interviewed him. Really interesting guy, very, very busy guy, you know. And just the three, I'll tell the three live people the following week, which, do you know Mark Dressler?
Yes.
Yeah, great bass player, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A little more avant-garde, right? And so he's on Monday. And Tuesday, another great bass player, Ryan McGillicuddy. Do you remember him?
I know the name.
Kind of on the younger side, but not super young. But he lived here, and then I think he lived in Korea for a little bit, and then he might be in Kansas City now, I forget. And then a singer named Leah Klein, who used to live here and now lives in Amsterdam, or I could be wrong, but I think that's where. Anyway, that's what's happening, and I will see you Friday, and I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be really fun. We're doing a recording session for the singer Pierre Chambers, who is Paul Chambers' son, and this is his debut record, and we have Karen Hammock on piano and Clayton Cameron on drums. So
Good.
should be really fun.
It's going to be fun. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, Cathy. It was great hanging out with you for 2 hours, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, have a beautiful day.
And you do the same.
Thanks.